You're listening to the Full Court Press with your host, Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. You guys are checking me out live on 95.9 FM KSUN Radio, Wichita, Kansas. Don't forget, you can always be a part of the program by tweeting me. That's at Drew Duncan 83. You can also get a hold of me on Facebook at Drew Duncan 83. And if you love that Instagram, real simple, guys, at Drew Duncan 83. The Kansas City Chiefs getting set to take on the New England Patriots manana. Should be a great football game. Alex Smith deemed the starter at age 33. This is what a direct quote. Brett Veach made it clear. Quote, Coach made a statement a few days back referring to Andy Reid. There's no gray area. Alex Smith is our quarterback. Alex is so far advanced from the mental side of things in regards to his ability to read coverages, to shift better plays, and really play the chess game. He's so far ahead of what Pat is. Can we get a slow clap? Can we start a slow clap? Can we do it? Kansas City Chiefs fans, are you with me on this? Let's get a slow clap. Let's just do right now. Come on. I know you hear me. Just a nice slow clap for finally some decision making going on with the Kansas City Chiefs that I feel like makes sense. They're starting to spend a little bit of money. I think they're taking good draft picks. They're getting to that level now, and they're making sure that Alex Smith is their guy. For now, until the kid messes up, then what? Then Patrick Mahomes is the guy. That's all I'm saying. Until then what? Look, last year was Alex Smith's best season, statistically speaking. Pretty good completion percentage. I think he threw for 3,500 yards last year, which ranked like 22nd best in the NFL. But the reality of it is Alex Smith has proven, that he can win games. He's been a part of that Kansas City Chiefs team that has won more games than 28 other teams in the NFL. We talked about it earlier. You look at the top 4 teams since 2013 in terms of wins, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Chiefs. It's a point-blank situation, guys. Alex Smith has been a very instrumental part of that, whether you want to think he has or not. That comeback against San Diego last year, I think, really solidified who he really is. The problem is he hasn't had a lot of experience around him. He hasn't had a lot of talent around him at wide receiver. Tyreek Hill is a hell of an athlete, but how much can you really run him? I mean, let's just be honest with you. You got to do punt returns, kick returns. You're running him on reverse plays. You're sending him out for passes now. You're showing him on streak routes. You've got Travis Kelce, who I think is a hell of a tight end. But, at the end of the day, you can only get so much. Now you got Ware hurt. You're having to go to a rookie as your running back. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to need some real leadership on that football team. And I think right now, that's what these guys are alluding to. They're not saying that Mahomes is not a good quarterback. That's not the words that are coming out of their mouth. Reading the defense is a thing. If you don't believe me, ask any quarterback who's ever played ever. That's why it's called football IQ. It's called football IQ for a reason. You've got to be able to see what's in front of you, know what you're looking at. Now, granted, you can't always do it. There's disguised plays. There's things that I don't care if you've been in the league for 15 years. Sometimes you don't recognize it. But that doesn't mean that you haven't seen some variation of it before. A guy like Alex Smith, who's been in the NFL for 11, 12 years now, knows everything that is going on. He knows everything that's happening in front of him. He sees the defense and he reads it. That's the idea, folks. You're not going to get it perfect every time. But I would rather have a quarterback back there that can see 60% of what's going on than a quarterback who's going to get every blitz package known to man thrown at him and can only understand about 10 to 20% of what's going on. Think about it like this. Tom Brady has beaten every team in the NFL with the exception of obviously himself and the New England Patriots. Think about that for a minute. So when you play all of the teams and you beat all of the teams, guess what? That means you have seen what all the teams have to throw at you. Okay? Alex Smith has been somewhat afforded that luxury. When you've been around as long as he is, you've seen a lot of defensive coordinators, you have a general idea of what's coming at you. Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have a clue in hell, keeping it real. He would have no idea what's going on. Come on, do you really think that Patrick Mahomes is the best option right now for this team? I'm telling you right now, even if they have a bad season, I'm going to reiterate this from yesterday's program. Even if they have a bad season, even if Alex Smith is horrendous, there is absolutely no reason on this earth to risk Patrick Mahomes getting hurt his rookie year. Let the dude sit. Let him learn. Let him learn from mistakes that are made. Let him learn from good plays that are made. Stick him in a film room for an extra amount of time. That's where he needs to be. Put him in a place right there on that sideline where he can look up and see what's going on. You know, Donovan McNabb, one of my favorite players of all time. I'm a Syracuse guy, played at Syracuse. Denver and Philly have always been my two teams in the NFL. When he played at Philly, was a hell of a quarterback. You know, when I saw one of the very first games that he ever called as a color commentator, he was looking down and the guy goes, you know, what's the difference between up here and down there? And he goes, well, from up here, I can see a lot of things the coach was talking about that I didn't believe him on. I'm telling you, it's different when you're on the sideline, guys. You've got to learn. Again, I reiterate, Bubby Brister played quarterback in the NFL for a long time. I think it was his rookie year. He was already starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played against the Denver Broncos in an AFC divisional game. They dominated the better part of that football game. John Elway, of course, you know how he does. They end up making a comeback. The Steelers have the ball. They're kind of driving late. Bubby Brister starts getting rattled, flailing his arms all over the place. He fumbles the football. Denver recovers, and the Broncos win the game. Later on, Bubby Brister ends up being a second-string quarterback to John Elway. And he flat out said, I learned more on that sideline watching John Elway than I ever did as a starter in this league. You need to sit. And look, Chiefs fans, I get it. You're tired of it. You haven't won a Super Bowl since the 60s. You've won one playoff game in 27 years. You're frustrated. You're tired of losing. Chiefs fans are some of the most dedicated fans, probably the most dedicated. I'm telling you right now, I have been to stadiums. Those Chiefs fans, I lived in Kansas City for 3 years. For 3 years. I'm telling you right now, that team could be 2-10 and that stadium is filled up, man. I believe that Chiefs fans are some of the most deserving fans in the entire NFL nation. Alongside with Philadelphia fans, those are some very deserving fans. I'm telling you right now. So I feel their pain. I know your frustration. I get it. As a Broncos fan, you know, as a kid, I never thought I would see Denver and John Elway won a Super Bowl. After a while, you know, and what really stung was that Jacksonville game. All Broncos fans remember that. You go up 6-0. Mike Shanahan wants to go for 2. You don't convert it. You score again. Now you got to go for 2 just to make it 14. You miss it again. After that, Jackson reels off 30-plus points straight. Right? Mark Brunell all over the place. After a 13-3 season. Yeah, after that, I just thought, man, I'm never going to live to see Denver win the Super Bowl. End up winning 2. So don't lose heart, Chief fan. Just one more year of let's see what Alex Smith can do. Let's sit Mahomes on the sideline. I know he looked good, but it is preseason football. And yeah, I've talked about it before where these guys are throwing in packages now that are not your basic 4-3 defense and everybody's just kind of dropping back and doing their thing. I mean, now you are seeing complicated blitz schemes, and I get that. And, you know, Mahomes, to an extent, I thought was already reading some of the defense and looking pretty good at some of the things he was seeing. But just point at somebody at the same time, though, guys, doesn't really necessarily mean a whole lot. A lot of times he's just trying to either identify who he thinks the blitzing linebacker is or who the most athletically gifted man that is going to roam around the most is. That's usually what the Mike linebacker does, okay? It's really nothing complicated, all right? He's made some checks at the line of scrimmage with some coverage protection things. And again, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is horrendous. And it doesn't matter who's back there in the pocket, Alex Smith or Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be running for their life. So, which only proves my point. Do you want your top 15 first round draft pick at quarterback with all that potential, risk him getting hurt? Do you really want that? I mean, to keep it really real with you, if Alex Smith went down for any reason, I would probably put in another guy just so that way Mahomes doesn't risk getting hurt until I can get my offensive line figured out, period. And they're going to need some leadership. You know, when you've got an offensive line that's that bad, when you have limited guys that you can go to a wide receiver, when you have limited running backs and you're relying on a rookie right now, when you have all those things in place, you're going to need a guy who's been around for a little bit. A guy who could take over in that locker room. I'm not saying Mahomes isn't capable of that because clearly those guys love playing with him. But that's going to be the thing. To me, that's where Alex Smith is going to show his composure because he knows he's got this kid breathing down his neck. That's going to be what really comes into play here. Can Alex Smith keep his head on a swivel and not worry about whether or not Mahomes is going to come in and sneak up on him and take his job and just start winning football games? That's what it's going to boil down to for Alex Smith. Because I think he probably already felt that pressure at one time at point with Colin Kaepernick before the injury happened. And they were a 7-1 football team, and he was playing just fine. But Alex Smith has, unfortunately, seen the business end. Jim Harbaugh made a choice to start Colin Kaepernick over Alex Smith after he'd been gone for a few weeks and was hurt. He made that decision, stuck with it. He felt like that was what was best for the football team. It is what it is. I'm not getting into how everybody feels about Colin Kaepernick. Don't start in with all that. That's been talked about and talked about and talked about. There's nothing new that I can offer about that. That's not what I'm getting into. Okay? That's not what's going on here. What I'm telling you is football stuff. Okay? From football stuff, Jim Harbaugh made a decision that when Alex Smith went down, he felt like Colin Kaepernick was the guy to go with. All right? Now, we could see that again in Kansas City. I personally don't recommend it, but we could see it. Does Alex Smith go down? Who the hell knows? I don't want to plague anybody. That's for damn sure. But what I'm telling you is trying to give what I'm trying to accomplish here is giving you an all-around scenario of everything that could potentially happen. But I think no matter what happens, you need to sit Mahomes and let the guy learn. Don't force the issue. Let things happen organically, man. That was what made the NWO so great. It was organic. It just kind of happened. Right? Remember WCW, the NWO? NWO. Yeah. That was me, by the way, doing that. Pretty good, huh? I should be doing a late night hour. This is Drew Duncan. Late nights. Buckle up. Anyways, that's where I stand with that. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to get a little bit deeper into the Kansas City Chiefs roster, things to look for. Without Julian Edelman, how should they attack the New England Patriots defense? We're going to start looking at scenarios offensively with this football team. What style of play do I think that the Kansas City Chiefs should go with to be the most productive against the New England Patriots? We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. But whereas Alex Smith is concerned, I think you all understand my point of view, and that is no matter what happens, you start Alex Smith, you'll let Patrick Mahomes sit, and if something terrible for whatever reason should happen, Alex Smith, something unfortunate, you still just leave the dude be, man. Just let him ride the pine for a year. There's nothing wrong with it. So there you go. You can tell me different. At Drew Duncan 83 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the flip side, still college football to get to, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, still Ezekiel Elliott to get to. I'm not going to give you my opinion on it. I'm just going to lay down some facts and allow you to decide from there. This is the Full Court Press. I am Drew Duncan from the K-Sun Studios out here in Wichita, Kansas. Don't you dare touch that dial.